Bass players, are you ready? All right, once again, we've created 6 more for you guys who are wanting to play a little bit more gospel. And don't worry, if you're new to gospel music, just like I've done in all the other packs. And by the way, if you're not hip to these gospel jam packs that I'm creating for the bass community, you need to know about them now. I've been making these gospel packs for guys that want to learn more about gospel music, who want to improve their playing, who want to learn more about the genre. Maybe you're not going to ever step foot inside of a church, but you want to know about that gospel sound. You want to know a little bit and have a better understanding about how we do what we do. So this time I've created more tracks for you guys to work out to. I brought in professional musicians to help me create this sound. So these tracks come alive when you're playing them. You feel like you're right there on the stage playing with a full band. So you're gonna get the real feel of what cats would do in this type setting. And don't worry, it's not super complicated. There are basically 2 sections to the songs. There's an A section and there's a B section. It's about a minute or a minute and 30 seconds long, and you're gonna loop that and just have fun and rock out. And don't worry, these tracks are completely royalty free, so you can use them on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, wherever your place of choice to post your videos. Or if you're a person who just wants to learn in secret, that's cool. I got something for you too. So you don't have to worry about trying to figure out all of this stuff on your own. When you listen to these tracks, they're banging, but you don't have to figure out all of this stuff by yourself. I am including the sheet music and tab for you guys who read, or for you guys who read tab and you want to know what I'm doing. So there's an MP3 that includes my bass take, so you get a real idea of what to play around this track, and you're not just out there fishing for ideas. Although it's wide open for you to do whatever you want to do on it. Not only that, as I've done with all of the bass jam packs, I'm going as far as to show you exactly. We're going to break it down. I've created instructionals for all 6 songs. So we're going to go through, I'm going to break down what it is I'm playing, the licks, all of it, the whole 9, you get it all, and I'm going to show it to you. I'm going to break it down. We're not going to take forever with it either. We're going to get to the good part so you can get to practicing and get to having fun on this stuff. So I invite you to check out the Straight Gospel Bass Jam Pack Volume 2. You're going to love it. Let's go. Good morning, folks. Welcome to Grooves and Motivation Live. I put this mic closer to my mouth so y'all can hear me. So I see some comments. Is this live? Yes, this is live this morning. This is not pre-recorded. You are seeing me live. And yeah, be sure to drop in the comments. I already typed it in the chat. Be sure to drop or type in the chat where you're watching from this morning. If you're watching in the replay, still let me know where you're watching from. I always love hearing from you guys. I got this thing that I was playing this morning, and I don't want to talk too long before I play it. It's something I was hearing, so I wanted to jump into it. Right? I'll be back. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. Hopefully, everybody's well. Let me go through here and see who I missed this morning. Sagiri, good morning to you. Peely. Um, who else is that? Charles, I see you. Anderson. Boston, Massachusetts is in the house. Philadelphia is in the house. What else we got? Sri Lanka. Um, based out of Brooklyn. I see you. Oh, you said Delaware. Okay. Your name threw me. All right. Got you. So Anderson, based out of Brooklyn. Early Gay, Green Goldsboro, North Carolina. I got you. B.E. Wool. Good morning to you, sir. Uh, Stephen, good morning, man. Rayford, North Carolina in the building. The Black Chad, nice, too nice. Thank you, sir. Stephen says, love it, man. What's so? It says relaxing, but it's dope, man. I appreciate that. Um, Music for Jesus. Tennessee is in the building. Good morning to you. Sagiri says, gotta run. Okay, I got you, man. Thank you for hanging around. Luca, if I'm saying that correctly, thank you for that comment there. NL, Paris is in the building. Welcome. Yes, sir. What a moment. Thank you. Yes, sir. That ain't for me. Vic, good morning to you, sir. What's that? Analyze 2930. What a blessing, relaxing groove early in the morning. I'm glad y'all digging it. It's something I was hearing. I couldn't let it go, and it was something that I was hearing, so I had to go with it. And so hopefully none of you guys were bored, but hey, it's all good if you were. So hey, I don't want to be on here too long, but thank you everybody that's joining me this morning. And again, you can simply you can simply comment where you're watching from in the chat. I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to know where you guys are watching from, that whole thing. So yeah, all of that kind of stuff. So jumping right into the talk this morning, I think that that track was a good segue for me. Did y'all, for the most part, like that? Hopefully you did. If not, again, it's all good. um, but yeah, I almost quit. That's the title this morning. And the question is, have you ever had a situation that you almost quit? You may have listened to someone in terms of something that someone said to you that was negative. You may have listened to yourself in terms of some crazy self-talk that you had that gave you the mind frame of, you know what, I'm done. I am done with this. You know what I'm saying? I had one of those moments almost yesterday where I said that. It's like I got some feedback concerning some things, and it was like it kind of got me for a brief second to this frame of mind. You know what? What's the point, right? You almost find yourself in this situation, because I'm human just like everybody else that's watching on here this morning. Uh, you find yourself in this mode of what's the point? They don't care, or it doesn't matter. Like, it could be a number of things that you say in those situations. Like, number one, they don't care, or it doesn't matter anyway, or what difference is it gonna make? All those type things that you find yourself saying when that moment comes, or when that idea, that thought comes to your mind. You find yourself saying some crazy stuff. And if you're not careful, you will get caught in that rut, and it will cause you, if you're not careful, to abort purpose, to abort why you're doing what you're doing. I heard this thing. I was listening. I was listening to this podcast by Yannick Wasdala. He interviewed Victor Wooten, and at the time he had just got married. Not Victor Wooten, but Yannick Wasdala, and Victor was giving him some marriage advice, so to speak. He said, one thing my brother told me when I got married is, when you have those rough spots or you have those rough times, and you will, one thing to remember is keep in mind why you married that person. Keep in mind why you married that person. And that stood out to me, even given this situation where it's like I was kind of faced with something, some feedback I got. It was like, man, you know what? It's like, even though it wasn't in the context of marriage, it was in the context of what it is I'm doing. Remember why you started to do this thing that you're doing. I appreciate that, SR 205 Australia. I appreciate that. Yeah, so remember why you started doing what you're doing. Now, this can relate to anything. This can relate to your playing. This can relate to your career, whatever that may be. This can relate to a relationship, if that's you. This can relate to a number of things. You just fill in the blank. Remember why you started doing blank, whatever that is for you, because those moments are going to come where you are challenged. I struggled with trying to find a name this morning for this live. I struggled with a topic, not necessarily a topic, but a way to title it, a way to call it, because I had so many different thoughts running through my mind in terms of things that I could possibly share. And I had some other things that was on my, even last week, I had some things I wanted to share. But this particular morning, something was like, yeah, you know what? Just be really, really transparent. Because I feel like this could be really helpful to somebody that might be in that same place, that same headspace, that same frame of mind that I got in briefly yesterday. And so hopefully this will be helpful for you. Melbourne, Australia too. I see you. You said you're curious to see where this is going. Good morning, Wayne. Afternoon to you, whatever time it is there. So again, if you find yourself in that frame of mind, you have to go back and remember why you started what you do. I find so many people, even in music, they lose focus on what the main thing was. There's a saying that I like: keep the main thing the main thing. And that's definitely applicable in this particular context. We get so caught up into all of the things that we're trying to do, all of the things we're trying to learn, all of the opinions of others concerning our playing, especially as musicians. We like that instant gratification. You like to know, we're all guilty of it. You like to know that somebody's actually enjoying your work as a musician, as an artist, whatever you do creatively, you like to know that someone is enjoying it. But the biggest thing, I was having a lesson with a student of mine on yesterday about something similar to this subject. The biggest thing as a creative, you don't have to feed off no one else's opinion of your work. You don't. And if it's something you know you're supposed to be doing for a specific reason, you don't need that pat on the back from somebody else to guarantee you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. Let me explain with this example that I shared with one of my students yesterday. We were talking about songwriting, and he was talking about getting into songwriting. What are some different ways? How do you approach songwriting and that kind of thing? Well, I'm like, well, the biggest thing about songwriting, there's no right or wrong way to do it. There are a lot of ways that work for a lot of different people. But I told him creatively, I think one of the best things you can do is be as honest as possible with yourself, especially when you're getting started, because that keeps you free to create how you hear it. And you never know what can become the new thing, because something you're hearing in your mind might not necessarily follow the traditional structure of a song, but that does not mean that what you're creating is not good. So you can't always rely on what everybody else has done or rely on the structure. Okay, A, B, C back to A or whatever, the different structures of songwriting. I was telling him when I started writing music, I was probably like 15 years old. And I would just create something. I would come up with stuff in the top of my head, and it was almost like my son playing with his toys. It's like there are no rules. You don't have to turn this in to anybody. When you're that young, there's no one expecting you to do a certain thing. So the expectation level from other people is very low, which means my creativity level is very high because there are no rules. I can create whatever I want, however I'm hearing it in my head, and I don't have to worry about the opinion or the thoughts of others because I'm not creating it for them. But somewhere along the line in my musical journey, as I began to see a little success, began to have a few placements, I began to start, being a session musician, getting a few recordings under my belt, learning what formula or hearing feedback from people. Oh, I like that song. Because what happens once you start getting that gratification from people, you start gravitating towards what they said. So now your creativity, if you're not careful, it starts to diminish a little bit because I'm boxing in what I know. I'm boxing into what I think people want to hear. And the more you do that and the more success you have in that area, you begin to do more and more of what you think people want versus you being completely open to be creative. Now, there's nothing wrong with finding a formula and refining that formula in terms of you being a creative. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But that's a completely different thing from being swayed by the opinion of others when it comes to your creation, what you created, however this applies to you. Because if you started writing songs and you might have started with the bridge. I don't know why you would do that, but hey, if that worked for you, like I'm going to start this song with the bridge and then I'm going to go into the chorus and then I'll go into a verse. But that's how you started when you started creating. But you got around somebody or you co-wrote a song with someone or you wrote a song that got placed on somebody's album. The song did really, really well following a certain structure. Now you try to follow that structure every time you create and you wonder why you have things like writer's block as a songwriter, as a creative, or I'm just stuck, man, I can't think of anything. Or if you're not a songwriter yet and it comes to your playing, when you started playing, you was excited. You was just playing anything you would hear or trying to pick up songs you heard on the radio. You would hear somebody do something on a video. You go sit down and try to learn that. But you got a job or something like that. You got hired to do a gig. You started recording and you learned the structure and that structure boxed you in. So now when you try to sit down and come up with stuff, your creativity is out of the window. You created a box. And when you created that box, it boxed out your creativity. You have a little bit left, but what you're going for is like you're not quite getting there because you've put a lid on top of your creativity. And when you do that, you're limited your own creativity. So now you second guess everything you're doing and you are thriving off the opinion of others. Or it can be your own negative opinions surrounding your stuff based on your last what you call win, based on your last success. So now that's choked out your creativity and it's like, man, I can't come up with anything because you're basing it on something else instead of basing it on the moment, being completely present, being completely aware of what you're doing in the moment and allowing whatever's coming out of you, whatever's coming through you to actually come through instead of choking it. Because now I can't do that because that's too much this, that's too much that. So now you've choked that creativity. Whereas a child, my daughter, I can give her a piece of chalk and she'll draw on the sidewalk here, the driveway in the house. She'll draw on everything for hours. She'll create big murals. And the rain will come and wash it away, and she'll come back and do it again. There's no one telling her she's doing something wrong. So her creativity just goes and goes. She draws on everything, you know. Even when she's trying to play and create music, she comes up with these songs that's like 12 and 13 minutes long. They're long, but that's what she's hearing. And her creativity is going and growing. And we don't try to discourage her from that because we know that's a vital part of her development as a creative. But when you choke out that creative process, always trying to do things right, always trying to follow everybody's rules, you get burned out. And now, to the point, you hear a comment like something like, it don't take all of that. Or, won't they just do this? Or won't they just do that? Or why do we have to do all of it? You get other people's comments. Why did they add that to the song? I don't like that. I think you should have. And you start listening to that stuff. And because you haven't been being completely honest with your creativity, you start believing the report of somebody who don't know your full potential. Now you start to believe what they said. Maybe I shouldn't be doing this at all. No one cares. But when you started, it didn't matter who cared. You cared. You liked it. And you kept creating based on what you liked, what you were doing. But now because of someone's opinion, you've pulled back. You're second guessing yourself, and now you want to quit. Case in point, many musicians who started out playing, was enjoying what they're doing, but then they got around a professional, somebody who doesn't have any control of their tongue, and this person said something negative to them, like, you need to be doing this and you need to be doing that. Why? I know that's part of my growth, but why are you pushing the issue right now? It's not going to affect what you're doing. If I'm enjoying what I'm doing and my ambition right now is not to do that particular thing at this point in time, I know at some point I have to learn that, but why are you pushing the issue? Don't allow other people's opinion of you and what you should be doing define who you are. That's a self thing that you have to do. For your own self. You can't depend on somebody else. I don't care how successful they are. Hear me clearly with this. There's nothing wrong with seeking wise counsel. Nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with asking advice from a professional, so to speak. But one thing you have to remember, I don't care how professional they are. I don't care how much success they had. I don't care if they got 15 Grammys. They don't know it all. I'm sorry, not sorry. They don't know it all. So at some point you have to trust what you've been given, because you might be the thing, you know, that comes along. You might be the next new thing and don't know it. But if you keep adjusting based on the opinions of others, based on their own success route, you'll miss what's yours. And then you'll second guess, you'll doubt it. And it's like, yeah, you'll doubt it. My career, this is the more personal thing for me. My career has taken this kind of shift in the last few years where I've done obviously more speaking now. And as a musician, I can be honest with you, this is something that's not popular in the musician world. Most of the time, as a musician, and I'm sure even some of you may be watching this live, people have this idea, especially if you're good at something or people like what you do, they want you to shut up and do it. Shut up and play. Shut up and do this. Shut up and do it. It's almost like I want you to do what I want you to do. And if you're listening only to the voices of your critics, they won't allow you to grow. People will box you in to what they know you for, and that's not your full potential. That's only a fragment of who you are. And if you keep listening to that, you'll abandon your purpose or you'll sabotage your own future. Maybe this was the path that was laid out for you, and your playing is part of that. Like my speaking and my playing, they're twofold. It's like they come together. But the traditional sense of being a musician didn't really offer me any avenue to do what it is I'm doing right now. And so one would go to think, well, maybe I shouldn't be doing this because there's no trail, so to speak, for this. There's no road. There's no I don't see anybody else that's doing this. Not on a regular. I've seen some people that have done some one-offs of this particular thing, but I don't see a lot of people who this is what they do. That don't mean you're wrong just because you can't find anybody else to identify with. Oftentimes, trailblazers are going against a lonely path by themselves. You're putting down the weeds, like you're going through it because there's nothing there. There's no road, and only you know the way you're going. And after you finish getting there, you've left the path. Everybody following behind you can see clearly where you're going, but you, the one who's leading, you don't know where. It's like you have an idea, but you don't know how you're going to get there. You don't know what obstacles stand before you. And so as you're blazing this trail, it's not crystal clear all the time. So if you start listening to the opinions of others, they'll have you going in any direction because when you're blazing a trail, there's no clear path all the time. All you have to do is focus on that one main goal. And I can't say this without excluding what I followed. There's a verse, Proverbs 3 and 5, trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not to your own understanding. And all your ways acknowledge him, and he'll direct your path. That's literally code for me. I have to live by that. And maybe you haven't got to that particular conviction in your own life, and I'm not trying to force anything on you, but for me, that's what works. And that's what has gotten me to this point because I don't know it all. And as a trailblazer, oftentimes I don't know what I'm doing. I don't have a clue. And I'm trying and hoping that my efforts are going to land me somewhere I want to be. But I sometimes most of the time, listen to this voice in my head that's just for an example, saying, turn left, turn right, keep straight. All right, stop. Nope. Stop. Okay, now you can go. Literally. Because when I do that, I notice even though it's not a popular path, it always land me where I'm supposed to be. And while everybody is criticizing and critiquing what I'm doing at the moment because it doesn't make sense to them, once I get to that place, it's like, oh, I had a somewhat mentor of mine, bass mentor of mine that I talked to recently, and he was like, man, years ago when I was telling you X, Y, and Z, I was just trying to, protect you in a sense, just trying to tell you to be careful because this could happen, that can happen. He said, but now looking at what you've done, I see why you took the road that you took. And in many ways, I wish I had done the same thing when I was your age or, earlier in my career, because I can see the benefits of what you did, even though at the moment when you were doing it, it didn't look like you were going the right direction. That's why you can't always listen to the experts, because what worked for them might not work for you. There was something, musicians that I was around, especially when I moved to Atlanta. Social media was non-existent at the time. YouTube was becoming a thing, but people wasn't really hip to it like then. And I started in YouTube probably 2009. I started posting videos and that kind of thing. And one of the things that some of my musician peers were telling me, man, you shouldn't be doing that. You shouldn't be posting. I heard about so-and-so, they were doing this and something happened to them because they were showing stuff online. And it's like, okay, I get what you're saying, but from your perspective, you're already an on-call guy, which means people are already calling you for work. You don't have to do anything. You're already in the in crowd. So people already know who you are. Matter of fact, the right people already know who you are. And these relationships that get you the work, even though people know me and they know me in these circles, they already have their guy. They already have their go-to man or whatever. And not to mention, not only that, I don't want to be limited to the opportunities that you have. Maybe I want to try something different. Something is pulling me and telling me, hey, try this. Be consistent. Grow. Stretch yourself. This is different. And this is kind of uncharted territory right now. Because at that time, again, it wasn't a whole bunch of musicians doing this on YouTube at the time when I started. It was a lot of uncharted territory, and we were just trying stuff. I talked to another creative the other day who was saying the same thing that started around the same time that I did. And they were like, man, we didn't know. We were just trying stuff. So it was a lot of uncharted territory. But had I stopped listening to the peers and the professionals at the time, you wouldn't be sitting here listening to me today. And I wouldn't have done some of the things that I've been able to do in my career had I listened to those people, because they didn't know the path that was laid out for me. And when you listen to people who don't know where you're headed, they will direct you somewhere else. I'm going to pause for a second, read through some of these comments so I don't be on here to 10 o'clock reading comments. Right? Let me go back. All right, I missed a whole bunch of stuff. So, Rido, Indonesia's in the building. Good morning to you. Base One Kitten, great life knowledge. Thank you, sir. If you're a sir, I'm sorry if you're not. Great. Let's see here. Hello, my brother. Sounding good. Raleigh, North Carolina. Daryl, I hear you, man. Thank you, sir. Andrew, good morning. Thank God it's Tuesday. Happy to be here. We missed you last week. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it was definitely a tornado watch here. And I was like, yeah, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and not go live this morning, just be on the safe side. The audio dabbler, man, just tune in and you are speaking right into my soul, man. I'm glad to hear that. To God be the glory. Diego, love from Cape Town, South Africa, man. Good morning to you. Love the prayer melody. It ministered to me musically, spiritually, and emotional. Thank you. Thank you for watching that emotionally. Thank you for watching that, Andrew. I appreciate it. And if you hadn't seen that video, Prayer Melody is a song I did on my Life album 2014, but I did a live video. Not a live video. I did a video for it here on my YouTube channel. Check it out after this. Sylvain, if I'm not saying that correctly, forgive me. Good morning to you. Chosen 33, I actually learned more playing the bass, listening at you, than I did trying to learn those licks, etc., that you were playing. Wow, that's crazy. Thank you. Holy Spirit talking. Listen up, y'all. Russ, yes, sir. Wayne says, thanks for the vulnerability on how confident you feel. It's difficult to comprehend this, but it's important we hear that one won't always know which way to go. Or the choice to take. Yeah, absolutely right, Wayne. It's difficult at times. The audio dabbler says Atlanta, just move north. Yeah, I'm in the Atlanta area. I'm like outside of the Atlanta area now. But when I first moved here, I lived right in the heart of Atlanta when I first got here. Doctor says, good morning. Thank you for speaking on this topic. Absolutely, no problem. Jermaine, this is powerful. This is Andrew. Sometimes you can't listen to the experts. Why? Because what works for them might not work for you. Absolutely. I literally do the same thing with the voices in my head. I got you, Music for Jesus. You gotta listen. Longview, Texas is in the building. I was at Longview last year. Yeah, I was at Longview. What's the church? I went to a friend of mine's church. I can't even think of the name of the church, and it's right there on the tip of my tongue. It'll come to me in a minute. I'll get it. Good morning from Danville, Virginia. Good morning to you. Yeah, that prayer melody, I continue to listen at it. Please put it on your playlist. This is good, Jermaine. Know your purpose and know your sound. Absolutely. Thank you, Kappa the Great. Nice bass. Thank y'all. I appreciate it. T, good morning to you. Tim Binkosi. Tim Binkosi. I always say it wrong, but I'm trying. Tim Binkosi. I'm trying. I ain't just saying to you. New beginnings. There you go. Thank you. New beginnings. That's definitely it. That's where I was at. All right. So Pastor Zeke is a good friend of mine. He's a worship pastor at that church. We were there doing a clinic last year. I had a lot of fun. Were you there? I probably asked you this before, but just remind me. Were you at the clinic, Chosen 33? All right. So moving on with this topic, that's for the most part, that's the biggest thing, guys. You can't listen to the voice of critics. I want to share this verse. Oh, wow, I'm saying it right, man. Listen, I got to play some shout music. I can't play with all that reverb and all that stuff on there. So I just gave you a little quick shout because I said your name right. All right. You can't listen always to the experts. Like I said, just being 100% transparent. I struggled with that yesterday because something really got to me about, and I'll be honest, even more transparent. It was on the line of the whole encouraging thing, what I do, and when I'm speaking to people and that kind of thing, and it made me start second guessing. Maybe I'm sharing too much. Maybe I am talking and saying too much because of folks that are loose with their words and who don't lift people or build people up with their words would rather say things like, "Hey, man, we don't need all that. Just do this." Most of the time I found the people who are rejecting that kind of stuff are the ones who need it the most. And I got a confirmation. Thank God for Jesus. I got a confirmation just this morning in my devotional about the very thing that I was dealing with. I want to share this verse with somebody because you might want to hear it. You might want to know, okay, what you hear. I'm going to tell you. So I got this verse, and it so encouraged me this morning because I was like, man, you get to those points at times that you're like, you know what, bump it. All right, I'm gonna let them have it. I'm gonna zip my lips, and I found out that that's not always the case. I'll read this verse and I'll give you what I'm talking about. This is from 1 Thessalonians 5:11, and this is not giving you context of where I got this from, right? All right, so this verse says, "Therefore encourage one another and build up one another, just as you also are doing." I'm like, you can't make it no more plain than that. Just out of nowhere. And my whole devotion was talking about something concerning this. And it was literally right on the money of where I was and what I was dealing with yesterday. So I say thank God for Jesus not being funny or being religious. If you have a relationship with him, and you truly try to walk in a certain way before him, he has a way in your moments of feeling down, of reminding you to keep your head up, reminding you, if you're truly doing that whole verse where I said Proverbs 3:5, trust in the Lord with all your heart, lean not to your own understanding, in all your ways acknowledge him, he'll direct your path. When you're trying to do that, he has a way every now and again of reminding you, yeah, you're going the right way, keep walking. Yeah, I know what they said, but I didn't say that. Keep walking. They weren't there when I told you to do what you're doing. They weren't there when you felt this tug to learn this instrument or to take this job opportunity or to start this career, even though no one else in your city is doing this. Like, why would you open up a popcorn or ice cream shop over here in this area? Because nobody's doing that. So, I know that's very childish, but that's what you should start saying when you hear these things come into your mind that try to make you quit what you started on, make you try to quit your vision, your journey, what you see, the path that's laid out for you. And it's like you start getting this doubt, whether it's external or internal. And it's saying, well, if you do this, that's going to happen, or that could happen. And that, well, I'd rather do it and try to go with something that's extraordinary for me and possibly fail at it. I'm not planning to fail, but if I fail at it, at least I learned something from it, rather than sitting on the sidelines and following you and following what you've done because it worked for you. We already see how that ends up. You've already done it. I'm not going to be a second you. So why not take a chance on these ideas, this creativity that he's given me? I'm interested to see how that plays out. I haven't seen how that story ends. Not a lot of people, after watching a movie the first time, unless it's a really, really, really good movie. Not a lot of people go and see that movie every single time they go to the theater. You can go spend that money to see that same movie over and over. Every time you get ready to go to the movies, that's what you're gonna do. I'm gonna tell you, I don't go to the movies like that. Not no more. I don't go to the movies that much. But when I do go, I'm definitely not going in there and paying to watch something I just seen. Now I wait till it come out on, now Amazon Prime or Netflix or whatever the case may be. You know what I'm saying? I'm not finna go and continue to pay for something that I've already seen. So why would I do that in my life? Continue to try to follow a career path of somebody else's. Now, that's not to say that you can't use that person as a model and like take some similar things and take some ideas, but to try to copy someone else's journey, someone else's path. Nothing that I have done since I moved here to Atlanta to pursue music as a profession has been the usual thing that people would do. I was told when I got here as a musician, oh, you need to go to this spot. You need to do this. You need, if any of you guys are from Atlanta, at the time, Apache was the spot, that was jumping. I think 290 was another one. I think they're still kind of doing stuff. But when I got here, like 15, been longer than 15 years ago, 16 years ago almost, that's what they were telling me, the musicians, my peers. Oh man, you need to go to this place. You need to go and try to get in on one of the open mic nights. You need to do this, and you need to go up and play. And they meant well. That's the thing. I want to be clear. Everyone that's giving you advice are not bad people. They're not your enemies. Sometimes it can be people who mean well and they're trying to really genuinely help you. But you have to be sure that you need to follow their advice, because if you don't follow the right advice, you're going to end up in a mess. I know from experience, you'll end up in a mess listening to people that you thought were experts. Now you're years later having to go back and undo a whole bunch of stuff that you've done because you were somewhere you never should have been. Listening to people you never should have listened to. Just because they're a great friend, or they are great at playing the bass, or they're great at whatever they do, that doesn't mean you have to take everything. You don't have to take everything I say. I'm not God. I'm not responsible for, what you do with this information. I'm just telling you, be careful of who you're listening to. Be careful of what you're taking in, because somebody's trying to push you on something that worked for them. It might not be your path. Be sure to listen to the one who knows where you're supposed to be going. I already told you what that is. You know what I'm saying? But if you choose not to do that, hey, whatever works for you. But just make sure that the conclusion you come up with is the sum total of all that you thought about and you processed, and that you actually took time to make sure this is what you're supposed to have been doing. Because oftentimes I'm sure people have missed a lot of great opportunities. I've heard it all my life, where you hear people who live with regret and they say things like, yeah, I could have done this and such, but I chose to do this instead, listening to this person. Man, if I had done this, by now I would be here. Or man, if I had listened to this thing, I heard in my head to do it, but I didn't see anybody else doing it. So I was, basically, in a nutshell, I was afraid to try it. Basically, you were afraid to try it. So now you missed out on a once in a lifetime opportunity because you were too afraid to try it. Nobody else agreed with it. Everybody thought you was crazy. Most of the stuff I'm doing right now, people think I'm crazy. I'm telling you, it looks good on the video, but in real life, what is this dude doing? I know that's the backroom conversation because I'm a musician. I know how we talk, but I'm not concerned about others' opinions of what it is I should be doing. Especially when I get a confirmation like that, and that ain't all. That's just one of the verses that I shared with you guys. But when I get a confirmation like that, it's like, yeah, your opinion is cool, but you could be dead in 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. So your point, you know what I'm saying? Nah, that sounds really harsh. I don't mean it that way. I'm saying the opinions of others are simply that. It's their opinions. Simply put, that's their opinions. We all have this life to live, and we all have decisions to make. And whether we make the right decisions or the wrong decisions, whatever decision you make, you have to live with the consequences of that decision. So why not put a little bit more thought into it? Why not ask more questions? Why not try these ideas that is coming to your mind? Like some of the stuff I don't mean, now let's be clear. If these are toxic things that are going to harm you in some type of way, like you should just try this drug. Like, yeah, I might as well. No, I don't mean that. Let's be clear, because I know I have to. For some folks, I gotta paint it clear. I'm not telling you to do anything crazy, but something that possibly pushes you out of your comfort zone and possibly could push you in a positive direction, but it causes a whole bunch of fear. You probably should be doing that. If it looks like you could never pull it off, you probably definitely should be doing it. It looks like you can't pull that off, and I don't mean if you can't hold a tune in a bucket and you can't sing, for a fact that you can't sing. Again, I'm being clear. Don't don't go out and try to start a singing career if you can't sing, or if you can't cook. If it's something that you're sure of this thing that I don't do this, leave that alone. But if it's something you do and it's within reach for you, but it's going to take a lot of effort, yeah, I would say that thing is worth the try. It's worth the effort. And stop listening to people who are telling you to quit. Stop listening to your critics outside and stop listening to the critic inside. There's a quote that says, if there's no enemy within, the enemy outside can do you no harm. Because everybody else's opinion, again, is simply their opinion. They can't stop you. If it's something that's been given to you, why not try it? Why not just take a chance on it and see how it pans out? From my perspective and from my ventures, at best, I learned something. I learned a life lesson. I learned a valuable lesson that most people who have come from similar backgrounds to me, these are lessons they don't know because they never tried that. They don't know how that ends up because they never done it. They don't have a reference point for it. So why would you listen to someone who has no reference point for what you're doing at all? Who don't have a reference point? If they're not there trying to offer you wisdom, not what they think they know, but actual wisdom, knowledge, no, wisdom, right? All right, let's look at a few more of these comments. I'm wrapping this thing up, guys. All right, so Wayne says, thanks. My beauty sleep. You got to catch up on your beauty sleep. Absolutely, Wayne. Thank you for joining this morning. Chosen 33 says, this walk is not easy. Have to keep your hand on the plow, even when it gets rocky. Absolutely. Andrew says, okay, now I'm standing with a Bible in my hand because the church is in session here. The audio dabbler, you just need to learn to chew up the meat and spit out the bones. Everyone has an opinion. Absolutely, I agree. Victor Wooten does a lot of talking too. He does. I have struggled with exposing my relationship with Yeshua on my YouTube channel. Not that I want to preach at people, but it has kept me from sharing my inspiration for music. I get you. I get what you're saying. He says, where did you get all of this wisdom? What wisdom? I put it like this. If I've said something that you consider wisdom or you find praiseworthy, thanks be to God. I'll leave it at that. Thanks be to God. Because I can't take any credit for it. Based on people that probably went to high school with me, they'll probably tell you I don't know nothing. But again, you're going back to the opinions of others. And I listened to those opinions for so long that I thought, not that I was dumb, but I thought I didn't measure up to everybody else, the smart people. And you'll lower your standards listening to other people's opinions of who you are. Even if you're in school, you can make a bad grade on a test and it becomes such a common thing that you start to begin to think that you're average based on a grade. based on a grading scale. Well, I used to get all D's and C's in school, so I'm, slightly below average type deal. No, that's just what you got on the test. Maybe you don't test well. Maybe you don't do good in these particular learning environments, and maybe you just haven't learned how to learn. That's what my thing. I didn't figure that out until my senior year in college. Like I was literally about to get my bachelor's, and I'm figuring out finally. Oh, I didn't know how to learn all this time. Thanks be to God, I made it out. But it wasn't because I didn't know stuff. It's just I didn't know how I learned until later. I was just getting through, just doing the best that I could to get through. But once I figured out how I learned and how I process information, it wasn't the same way that I was being taught. So the people who were teaching me was teaching me based on a system of things that worked for the majority, but it didn't work for me. Once I figured out how I learned, oh, now I can process information a whole lot differently. And to some people, it comes across as wisdom. I'll say my wisdom comes from fearing God, if there's any wisdom. It begins with the fear of God. That's me. That's my own personal thoughts. So you're not quitting though, right? Because we need you to cut in this bass world and dropping all kinds of jewels. Thank you, man. We need you out here. I get you. We need you out here in this bass world. Floyd, I appreciate that, man. No, I'm not quitting. I'm not quitting. I wasn't really talking about this particularly. I wasn't talking necessarily about grooves of motivation. It's just in other areas where I do this and where I share. Sometimes, being attacked in that area. That's what I mean overall. So no, just be clear. I'm not quitting. I'm not quitting anything. No. So yeah, you gotta be resilient. You know what I'm saying? You gotta persevere in whatever you're doing. I'm giving you guys my personal stories. And again, not trying to force anything down anybody's throat. I got to be honest with who I am and what I'm about. You know what I'm saying? Some people dig it, some people don't. I've learned to stop waiting on the opinions of others. The waiting, again, going back to the beginning of what we're talking about, waiting to be validated by the opinion of others. Because in terms of what I believe, I don't got to stand before you when it's all over with. I'm glad you like my plan. But guess what? I've learned, man, being here a little while, I just had a birthday last Wednesday and got another year older. I didn't get any younger. But, being here for a little while and seeing so many people pass in my lifetime, I don't care how important you think you are, people will mourn you a little while and then they'll be on to the next after you're dead. And you'll be lucky if people remember you. Some people 2 months after they're gone. Some people, if depending on the type of impact you left on this world, will still be talking about you, like Dr. King and people like that, Gandhi and all these different folks. But if you left a small impact, you do good for people to remember you 5 months after you're in the ground. Some folks done moved on before you even cold. You know what I'm saying? They found out about you passing away on Tuesday. By Friday, they doing something different. And somebody has to remind you, oh, you remember such and such died? Oh, that's right. Sure did. So why concern yourself with the opinions of people who are not going to even mourn your death? Half of them probably won't even show up at your funeral. You see what I'm saying? So, you know what I'm saying? You have to be careful about that. You have to really, really be careful about what you're listening to, who you're listening to. All right? I ain't going to beat a dead horse with this, but hopefully y'all got my point here. All right, so let's see. What's up, Dr. Neil? The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. Absolutely. Happy belated birthday. Thank you. Bruce Young says, good morning. Thank you, sir. Just here because the title, hey, what's up? Thank you, Grass, for hanging out with me for a little while. Emmanuel, thank you for the super chat. I appreciate that. Happy belated. Thank you, sir. Hi, Maestro. Really, I appreciate you too much. I love you too much. God bless you. We are still here. You are our great master. You teach us a lot, and you teach us I appreciate that. I'm not the master. Yeah, don't give me that title. I appreciate the support, but yeah, don't give me the title of the master. I'm not that. Ain't for one, and I ain't him. So thank you for that. Anyway, guys, that's it for me today. We're gonna rock out on this little vibe again. I'll play that on my way out if my camera don't die. I like that. I like what I was playing at the beginning. I don't mean it like that, but I like the vibe. It's right here. Just in case you're late, you need this. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Real quick, before I play this, I forgot. If you are following me on Instagram, and that's J Morgan Bass. Well, I'm not gonna be actually on my Instagram channel, but today at 3 p.m. Eastern time, I think that's Central time. That'll be 2 p.m. Yeah, I think we're out here. So J Morgan Bass. There we go. I'll put it in the chat. That's my Instagram handle. But I'll be on Pig Hog. I'll be doing a live on Pig Hog at 3 p.m. today. Pig Hog Cables, for correction. Pig Hog Cables. I'll put that. Let me put that on the screen so you guys can see that. So follow on Instagram, Pig Hog Cables. Go follow them now. Those are the cables I've been using for years. Just wanted to let you guys know. So I'll be on there playing. We'll be doing some Q&A today at 3 p.m. on Instagram. I won't be on my channel. It'll be a takeover. You know, I'm taking over Pig Hog Cables, the channel. So their Instagram live, I will be there at 3 p.m. today. So be sure to share that with somebody. Tune in. Come talk to me over there. Again, I'll be there. Won't be long. It'll be probably 30 minutes or so. And I love to have you guys in the building. We're doing some playing and talking. And yeah. So yeah, be sure to join in. So read a few more. Sir, I hope they're listening. God is speaking through you now. To God be the glory. Don't forget to like and share this video. Great knowledge for the masses. Thank you for that music for Jesus. Mitch, what's up, man? Greenville, North Carolina, check it in. Thanks for all the inspiration and sharing the knowledge. My pleasure, Mitch. Thank you for being here. Do you have that groove online somewhere? I would love to jam along. I couldn't do it this morning. Had to work. All good. I don't have this particular one online, but let me make mention of this. You saw it at the beginning of this this video, this live, but the bass jam packs. I'm making stuff like this in the bass jam. I think in the contemporary gospel we have a song that feels somewhat like this, a little bit, but it's a lot of jam songs, and I have a lot of bass backing tracks right here on my channel that's free. The straight gospel stuff on my website, I do instructionals and all that stuff. I break it all down. And anyway, there's enough of that. You go to my website, JermaineMorgan.net. You'll see it all there. Let me put that on the screen so you guys can go check that out when you get a chance. Right? I'm gonna play a little bit of this and I'm gonna be out, guys. longer on this time for real. Thank y'all, man.